You've probably never thought about it, but somewhere above your head right now, something is falling. Not rain, not a plane, a piece of metal moving faster than a bullet with nowhere to land but here. The universe has a habit of hiding its scariest secrets in plain sight. And once you see them, you won't look at the night sky the same way again. Let's start close to home. Space used to feel infinite and untouched, but we've managed to turn even that into a landfill. Right now, more than 40,000 objects are being tracked in orbit around Earth, and over 1 million more pieces of debris are too small to track, but plenty large enough to destroy a satellite in an instant. NASA has already had to shift the International Space Station's course dozens of times since the late 90s just to dodge this junk. And here's the part that should actually bother you. Not all of it stays up there. Chunks of old rockets and dead satellites have crashed into backyards, farmland, and rooftops. Most of it lands in the ocean, unseen, unreported, forgotten. But it's still falling. Now zoom out, far past our orbit, and you'll find something even stranger than debris. Nothing. Literal nothing. Scattered across the universe are colossal regions containing no stars, no planets, no galaxies at all, just emptiness stretching for hundreds of millions of light years. Scientists call them cosmic voids. To put that into perspective, our entire Milky Way galaxy, home to over 100 billion planets, is about 100,000 light years wide. The Boötes void alone spans roughly 330 million light years of absolute silence. Try to picture crossing that. There's nothing to see, nothing to hear, nothing waiting on the other side. But emptiness isn't the only thing drifting toward darkness. Some galaxies have already run out of the fuel they need to keep making stars. They're called dead galaxies, and for now, they glow a dim red as they burn through their final reserves of light. Eventually, scientists believe every galaxy, including our own, will follow the same path, drifting toward what's known as the dark era, a future where light itself stops being born. It's not happening tomorrow, but it is happening. If that feels too big to process, consider this. Astronomers now estimate there are over 1 trillion galaxies in the observable universe, each containing billions of planets. The total number of planets out there isn't just large, it's beyond anything the human brain was built to hold on to. People often say there are more planets in the universe than grains of sand on every beach on Earth. It sounds like an exaggeration until you realize it might actually be an understatement. And you don't need to leave our solar system to find something terrifying. Jupiter is right there, and it is not friendly. It's roughly 1,300 times the size of Earth, wrapped in storms, with winds over 400 miles an hour, crushing atmospheric pressure, and radiation levels that would end you before you even had time to be scared. Elsewhere in the galaxy, there are worlds where it rains molten glass, planets locked entirely in ice, and others buried under oceans with no land in sight. Earth suddenly starts to look like the exception, not the rule. Which brings up the question everyone eventually asks, are we alone out here? Technically, an alien is just any living thing that didn't originate on Earth. That could mean bacteria, it could mean something closer to a fish, or it could mean something we don't have a word for yet. Scientists increasingly believe it's a matter of when, not if, we find proof of life beyond our planet. The unsettling part isn't that they might exist, it's that we genuinely have no idea what we'd be dealing with. Then there are gamma ray bursts, the most violent explosions known to science, releasing more energy in seconds than our sun will produce in its entire lifetime. They're invisible to the naked eye, which means if one struck Earth directly, we wouldn't see it coming until it already had. Thankfully, our sun isn't massive enough to ever produce one. Instead, in a few billion years, it will simply expand and quietly swallow our planet whole. Small comfort, maybe. Even galaxies aren't safe from collision. Ours is on a slow crash course with Andromeda, set to merge in roughly 4 to 5 billion years. Planets won't smash into each other, space is too empty for that, but entire solar systems will be reshuffled, flung into new orbits around new stars. Supernovas, meanwhile, can outshine an entire galaxy and wipe out any life within 50 light years in an instant. Then there are black holes, the ultimate unknown. We know they form when massive stars collapse. We know supermassive ones, sitting at the center of galaxies like our own, can weigh billions of times more than our sun. What we don't know is what happens if you cross the edge. Some theories say you'd be stretched into a thread of matter. Others suggest a doorway to somewhere else entirely. But none of that is actually the scariest thing in the universe. The scariest thing is simply its size. You in your room in your city on a planet that's one of countless worlds, in a galaxy that's one of countless galaxies, inside a universe 93 billion light years wide and possibly endless beyond that. We don't know where it ends, or if it does at all. So maybe the fear was never really out there among the stars. Maybe it was always in here, in the quiet moment when you realize just how small you are and how much of it you'll never get to see.